What is up, guys? It's Verns back again with another Supercoach video. This time we're going to be going through the rucks and forwards for the mid-prices, premiums and rookies that I am interested in. Now, I do appreciate all those that do jump in and view these videos, especially those that like and subscribe for the consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into their YouTube feed. Now, we are doing these together because I don't think there's too much to go about in the ruck line, and I don't think there's really too many forward premiums to consider, so I think just mashing these together will keep it at a reasonable video. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping as usual. You will find in the description my Twitter. If you do want to follow along, I will usually update my team through there, as well as post my videos in there and the trades that I'll be doing heading into each week, so you guys aren't blindsided by me making last minute changes. There also will be a little link for the Supercoach Hub Discord. Feel free to jump into that Discord. We have team advice in there, as well as just season talk and whatnot, so you can jump in, have a bit of a chat, ask for some advice. And then we also have the consensus team that I want as many people in there voting that we possibly can. I would love to see as much unique votes for as many players as you like. Now, not every single player is on that list. I have just put through the ones that had high enough ownership percentage to be considered. But yeah, definitely jump in and put your votes in there, and hopefully we'll have a nice fun team for the season. So starting this off, we will be jumping into these rucks, and I think there's actually a lot of potentially viable rucks here. Now, we obviously saw the preseason game with Max Gorn going 180 plus, and you almost think he is a must-have, and there's no way you can go past him. So we're going to start with him because I think he is probably going to be the most owned ruck out of anyone. And he just screamed, "You have to pick me. I am 20 points underpriced at least." Yeah, I could be worth 700k, honestly. And you're getting me for 580. Like, what a steal. So, yeah, Max Gorn, doesn't matter that he has that buy. As I've sort of mentioned in my last videos, I'm not really picking buy players, but when they're underpriced this significantly, you can't look past them. Now we will go back to the top of the list, and look, Tim English looked really good again. Looks like he'll continue on his form from last season. Is a little bit less of a ruck split this year, so a little bit more forward time, a bit more time to lob, but he just looks so good, and he does a lot of the around the ground stuff as well. He's basically an extra midfielder in there with the way he moves. The ruck rules may not favor him as much, but he is just a superstar. Yeah, I wouldn't be unhappy if you started Tim English. He is very expensive though, and with all the value we have, it does feel like maybe you could better use that elsewhere. Rowan Marshall also looked really good. Young player as well. Is a bit cheaper. I think he could maybe be as good as English. Maybe not as good as English, but you're getting 80k off the price tag. He could definitely be top 2 rucks, top 3 rucks, so definitely one that has to be considered. Now, unfortunately, there's not many that we can put in this ruck line, so I'm just going to quickly clean that out afterwards. Kieran Briggs, unfortunately, has the buy. If you didn't have the buy, I think genuinely someone we could consider, but why would you not just get a Marshall or an English who don't have buys? Why would you not get a Gorn who also has a buy, but is honestly just going to be more value at his price? So unfortunately, I think Briggs will be fine any other season. Not this season, though, unfortunately. Sean Darcy, he looked good. The rules do favor him. I mean, how much do you value the buy at the end of the day? Because really, at this price, it's Darcy versus Gorn, and I don't think he can look past Max Gorn. I wouldn't be unhappy to see Sean Darcy in your team. I wouldn't be unhappy for basically anything I'm saying here. I think Gorn, just number 1 ruck, just put him there. And then if you went a Darcy or a Marshall or an English off that with him, I wouldn't mind that. That's perfectly fine in my books. We're going to bounce a little bit further down. The only problem with Darcy, I guess, is durability. He does have a habit of always missing games. So yeah, just not one I'm happy with. Yeah, I know that's done its thing. If I click on you, yeah, other screen, perfect. The next other ruck I think is really viable is obviously Brodie Grundy, and I think this is where the big why you just can't look past Brodie Grundy. He's priced at 86. If he basically goes 105 plus, he's made his value, and even if he goes 105, yeah, it's not good enough to be top 2 rucks, but he's going to make you enough money that you could just flip him to a top 2 ruck afterwards. So why not start a guy that, worst case scenario, he's going to be flipped into the number 1, into the best ruck later on in the season once we know who that is, or worst case scenario, he ends up well, not even worst case scenario, like in another scenario, I think that was worst case, sorry. Best case scenario, he just ends up as a keeper, averages 115 to 120, and he's just 150k plus undervalued. So, yeah, they're the 5 that I would consider. I mean, English, Marshall, Darcy, Gawn, and Grundy, but I think Gawn and Grundy are too good to look past just because of the price you're saving on them as well. I'm going to be putting Grundy in the premium category just because there's not that many rucks to choose from. But you saving money, like the other 3 rucks that I named, they're all more expensive. They're all more expensive, and they may not even be better scorers overall. So why would you not pick the cheaper guys that could score just as good as them and have value in their price? So yeah, that's why Set and Forget's looking so good this year. I guess the only thing there is obviously they both do have buys, so I guess if you want to go away from it and maybe bank on someone. Once again, as I said, I don't like you picking pods for the sake of picking pods, but if you generally think Rowan Marshall is a 125 plus this season, then sure, go ahead and pick him over Grundy if you really want. Feel free to do that, but yeah, not for me personally. But as I said, wouldn't be too upset with you guys having any one of those 5 iterations, as long as it's got Gawn in it, honestly. Going down, there's not really any mid-price rucks, so we're really just going straight down the rookie rucks, and we've got really Conway here to consider. We had Sweet, who jumped in for the game, and then we have not Kruger, he wasn't relevant. We have Naismith. So these are really the 3 that we're looking at here. I guess if you consider Livingston as a loophole, I guess he could also be considered a rookie people are looking at. I'm against picking a loophole, though. I'd much rather you going one of these other guys. Conway played the VFL, doesn't look like he's got the position, doesn't got the job security. Same with Sweet. Both of these guys, they don't have the job security or the role, so I think we cross them both off the list, and then it's really just Naismith that's there. Naismith has the role while Nankervis is out. I mean, if Nankervis doesn't return till round 5, you could make some serious bank on Naismith. He looks like he could be someone that's an 80-plus scorer at basically a 30 price tag, so you're going to make some good money off him. Worst case scenario, Naismith comes back a bit earlier and maybe he plays the second ruck. His scoring isn't as good. He's a 50 to 30, sorry, he's a 50 to 60 scorer. That's still good enough at his price. You get to his round 6 where he's got his bye and you just flip him down to Livingston, you bank 150, 200k, and then you make an upgrade elsewhere, and in that position you then get the loophole for the rest of the season. So I think Naismith is the pretty obvious R2 choice, and I mean, Ruck should be pretty straightforward. I almost think it's just Set and Forget, Gawn and Grundy, and then Naismith. As I said, if you want to get spicy with Grundy to someone else, feel free to, but I think almost Grundy and Naismith, you can't really look past them as the obvious picks in the Ruck line. And that's Rucks done. Rucks were so easy, and that's why I basically had Rucks here. Now I'm going to do something really weird here. I'm going to actually click on... No, I'll do that later, actually. Oh, no, I'll start with the forward rookies. We're going to start with forward rookies this time. So changing up a little bit of the structure of what we're doing here. I'm going to filter for forward only when clicking on the midfield. And the reason I'm doing this, it might seem a little bit weird, but there's just so many good forward rookies. Like, it is unbelievable how many good forward rookies there are. So we need more space for them. So we're basically looking at 250k or less for these guys. So I mean, we had Sardis play, so I'll put him there for now. We have Mead, we have Reed, we have Watson played, Lazaro, Windsor. We have Wilson, who was really good. Cooper Simpson was also someone that played, so maybe someone you could look at. Sean Manor played, but I mean, we'll put him there for now. Yeah, I guess these are the ones with all the forward DPP, so we'll slip all those guys in here for now. And then the ones that don't have that DPP status, let's get rid of that. And go all the way down. 250 or less. You're just going to start from here, because it'll make life a bit easier, I think, just getting these ones out the way. Now, these are the guys with the forward only in their name that we're going to be looking at, so we're going to chuck Billings in here. Shannon Neal did play, so I'll put him there for consideration for people, but I'm not really a pick I think's good. Zane Dersma did well, so you got to put him in there, I think. Gonna put Caddy there for now. McRae's gonna be cropped off the list, but we'll put him there for now. Dempsey also really good. Oh man, I'm running out of positions. Sexton, oh man. This is why I put them all in the midfield as well. And as you can see already from me doing this, we have a plethora of forward rookies to choose. It's unbelievable how many forward rookies we have to choose from. Now, in my opinion, I'm just going to go ahead and cross a few names off this list. I think Sardis isn't really the pick. A bit too expensive for what he was doing. McRae, I don't think he's best 22. I think this is better options than Caddy, personally. Dersma did really well, so maybe I should leave him there for now, but maybe not. Yeah, that at least freed up a few spots here. So let's click back on these guys. Get back down to these rookies. So who did I just add last? We have Cadman as an option. Laurie as an option. God, there's too many. There's too many to click on. I think we'll be okay though. I mean, Shaki did technically play, so we could click on him, but I don't think he's viable. Not a pick for me personally. Sam Darcy not really getting the role. Buku Karmas needs to be put in here, honestly. Who do I cut? You know what, I gotta be honest, I'm not really a fan of Zane Dersma. Playing that small forward role for North, it's not really ideal, and he's got that elevated price tag too. I'd much rather a Buku Karmas if he gets the role. The question is, does Buku Karmas stay in the team? Him and Cosfield are really competing for it. I thought Karmas was better on the weekend, but that's the problem with Karmas. He might fall into that 23rd, 24th, second premium position where 1 week he's in, 1 week he's out. It's just a bit hard to choose. As I mentioned, we could technically have Cooper Simpson up there, but not really a pick for me. Yeah, I think they're all the relevant picks that we were looking at. So yeah, I mean, there's so many forward rookies to choose from, and that's the problem here in the forward line. There's just so many good picks. We thought Mead, he was really good for what he did. Yeah, Butters was out, so definitely elevated what he could do because he did have more midfield opportunity. But he looked really good for his price tag and someone that needs to be considered in the forward line. Reed looked a lot better this week, played a lot more midfield, looked really good. Someone that I think should be picked as well because it just feels like he's going to play every game. Safe as houses, job security. And I feel like he's good enough to probably, get towards that 60 average. Nick Watson looked good, but doesn't have the role. He's playing a small forward role in a club that's not going to be playing for top 8, so I think you cross him off the list of players. We have Lazaro. Look, a bit of a down game this week. I didn't think he was that impressive last week. Everyone thought he was really impressive. I don't know. I mean, it really comes down to the role. He's at a price where he just needs to get the 60 plus. His role looks like it might be alright because he's getting a bit of midfield split, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of Lazaro for what I saw, but look, I'm going to talk to Joshy again. I'm going to talk to Scobes and see what they took out of this, and if this was that he played fine but just had a down game. I'm pretty sure if we look at his actual Supercoach in fan footy here, North obviously ended up being quite competitive this game. He had a good dream, like a decent dream team ratio. He got 80 there. Which maybe screams that he just butchered a bit too much. So, yeah, he did it with 21 disposals. That's really not too bad. 5 tackles is really nice. 5 clangers is really what kept him down, as well as 66% efficiency. So it seemed like his use of the ball and is what kept him down this game. And 68 in a game that I thought he was pretty poor in is actually really good because, I mean, as I mentioned, 60 plus and he's going to do good for us. So, yeah, I think he's still a very viable pick. And honestly, someone I'll probably look at in reality. Windsor, in reality, I think Lazaro maybe has a better role than Windsor. He plays permanent wing, which can sometimes mean that you disappear, and he's not a high accumulator of the ball. He was very effective when he got it. He was beautiful with the ball and did a lot of good things. He had a few one-on-ones with Akers, where Akers was just too big and strong for him at his current stature. But, I mean, he was impressive, but with, I think, the plethora of midfield options we're getting, probably actually going to have to scroll past Windsor at the moment. Darcy Wilson, oh my goodness. I mean, look, I've already got the game up at this point, so I might as well just talk with him real quickly. 106, 24 touches, 10 marks. He was phenomenal. He was so good and so active and so part of this game, and he just blends into that St Kilda game style perfectly. He does exactly what they want from their players. Like it's the perfect team to have honestly have drafted him. He just fits in so perfectly. So he's honestly a must start, and he looks good enough to be on field as well. I mean, worst case scenario, you're pushing him to bench, but I think he's good enough to be on field. And Manham wasn't best 22, came on a little bit later, wasn't bad when he came on, but wasn't good, made a lot of stupid decisions, and I think he's not going to be getting the role. I think it's a job security issue, and I think he should be also crossed off the list, so I'm going to remove Mana from this. So these 5 rookies, be happy with any of those in your forward line. Even if you had to force some of them into the midfield, that's okay, but as I mentioned, the midfield's already a pretty big log jam of great players that we can choose from. Then we got some other ones here. Jack Billings looked really good. I guess the only question here with Billings is he is that elevated price, and we have so many good rookies that do I think some of these rookies could be as good as he is, but at a cheaper price? Maybe. I feel pretty consistent, though, that he's got good job security. I think he's going to have locked down that best 22, and I think they've recruited him to do what he's doing. I mean, just body is a little bit of an issue there. He's had issues with the body in the past, but he has also been a premium before. So unlike a lot of these other rookies, he does have the history to say, hey, I'm good enough to be 85 plus if I can get a full season together. So I think that's why Jack Billings is just... he's probably a must-have almost. Like, he just felt really good for what I saw. Shannon Neal played, but we obviously have Conway in the wings as well. That could potentially knock him out of the role. Yeah, I think he's just... once again, he's playing that 23rd, 22nd spot where he may not be best 22 some weeks, and maybe he gets games here and there. Maybe he's used as a sub here and there. I think it's just a bit of a risk. So I would cross him off the list, but obviously he just played, so I put him there. Buku Kamis already talked about that. I think he's better. I thought he was better than Caulfield. Thought he was really good, but might be sort of one game away from just, move him out, move Caulfield in some weeks, depending on what happens. So, unfortunately, I think job security is going to be Buku Kamis' biggest problem here, but did look really good, and it's hard to look past someone playing an intercepting defender role in the forward line. So, yeah, look, wouldn't be mad with him in your team. I think he's definitely a bench option if he is in there. And maybe just some others I think have better job security. Cadman, actually I think you cross him off the list. He just wasn't very good. Yeah, he did some hit-out work from the ruck, but he basically played the full game and got like 16 Supercoach, didn't really touch the ball, didn't really kick goals in a game where they did downhill ski as well. So people are looking at Cadman being like, hey, they've got Weagles, they've got North. He's going to be easily dropping a bag on them, and all he needs is one good game, and he's going to get a great price rise. No, I don't see it from him. He ain't ready for it. He ain't ready made. He needs a few more years in the system to build up that body and maybe just get a bit more accustomed to the level before he's relevant. So I'm cutting him off the list. Bailey Laurie, not bad, not good. I think I like Windsor over him, but for 60k more, I could understand that in some team structures, you might need to go Windsor down to Laurie. That makes sense to me. Saying that, I don't know if you'd pick just Dempsey over Laurie. Dempsey was good, but it's a Geelong rookie, and we're so iffy with Geelong rookies. What did he actually score Supercoach? I haven't checked that out for Dempsey, but he was really good. So we need to just have a quick look there. 93 Supercoach. Did have a positive Supercoach to Dream Team ratio. Yeah, he had 80%, only 2 clangers. Yeah, really clean with the ball. Only 15 disposals, so not a high accumulator. 6 marks, though. Good tackles, kicked a goal. Yeah, I liked what he did. And yeah, that's nice. I mean, Jai Clark sort of falls into that same category. Look, he did actually get a few more disposals, but... only 17 disposals, better Dream Team than Supercoach ratio, so they're not always going to be that clean with the ball, and that could tank some of their scores sometimes, but look, he's at that cheap price where he's not much more than 30, just needs to get 50 a game, and I think he can definitely do that. So Dempsey, I feel, is almost a lock on the bench. Lohman, really good as well, someone that's once again, just needs to outscore 30, which he could easily do. DR flagged this man for a big year, and he looked really good in this game. And I kept seeing him get the ball and just touching the ball so much, and I thought, man, like Lohman's looking well. Too bad he's not Supercoach relevant, because I thought this man was like 300k. To see that he's 150k, I'm like, holy shit, this man is so relevant. And It's a hard Lions team to bust into, so maybe he'll have some problems when Ashcroft comes back, and Ashcroft is touted to come back earlier than expected. I think he almost has to be picked. Once again, we do have open round to look at him, make sure he's best 22, and if he is, and he's playing good, just slot him in your team. He looks really good. And then finally, Alex Sexton. Guys, you have to pick this man, and he has to be on field for you. We'll have the open round to once again just make sure it wasn't a bit of smoke, but he's had 2 great cracker practice games where he was unbelievable. In the most recent one, he put down 133 Supercoach. He could potentially be our Zeeble from a few years ago, where you start him as a rookie and he ends up as a keeper. Will Brody, something like that, where he's the... I guess Zeeble's more relevant because he's a forward line positioned, but he's actually playing that seagull defensive role behind the ball, and he's going to be scoring 100 plus and be a forward keeper. You need to start Alex Sexton 100%. So yeah, they're all the forward rookies. So many options to choose from. What a plethora of options to choose from. Absolutely loved it. We're going to quickly clear the team here. We're going to jump back to the forward line. We're going to go through some premiums, and this is going to be super quick for us because I don't like any premium. Premium, we're probably looking at 450k plus for these forward lines. Now, McCready didn't get any of these early games because he hurt himself, so we're going to scratch him. Luke Jackson, not while Darcy's in the team, scratch him. Shea Bolton and Martin weren't good enough, scratch them from the list. Caleb Daniel didn't even play. Is he best 22? Maybe he is. I don't know. Scratch him. I guess the only one that I think's relevant is actually Toby Green, which might be a little bit of recency biased. He was really good in the finals. He was really good in this practice game where they destroyed them. The other thing is Green is definitely a downhill skier. A massive downhill skier, and he's got Weagles and North to start. I wouldn't be surprised if his first 2 games are at least 120 plus, and then people try to jump on him, and it's like, dude, he's already had his 2 games. He's chasing points now. Yeah, if he ends up averaging 95 and being a forward keeper, he's going to do that with 2 massive games to start the season, and then with those 2 massive games, maybe he's a little bit less after that, but you need to start him if you're going to pick him. If you don't pick Toby Green, I don't think you pick him later in the season. I think he's a start, or you just forget him altogether. And yeah, obviously we have open round against the Pies. If he's already dropping 100 there, he's going to make so much money so quickly. Are you going to side with him after that, though? I don't know if you will. I think if you're picking him, you're probably picking him as a keeper. Yeah, not my preferred strategy to side with, as you guys know. But Green, definitely, I think the one viable premium here. Flanders is definitely a big watch for this week. He was not good enough. He was definitely not good enough. He looked pretty poor, and there's no way we're picking him for what he did this week. Saying that, Rao was also really poor, and I don't know if that's just because they got flogged by a better team, if they're still getting used to the dimmer setup, or if just Took being back is eating away from the points that they would have previously gotten. So yeah, Flanders, a little bit of a flag there. Definitely watch. Heaney, I guess, also on the watch list here. Played a lot of forward. Played a lot of midfield. Didn't score super well, with obviously Adams going down now as well. We had the broken arm of Luke Parker. Mills isn't there. There's a lot of there's a lot of CBAs to be given up, and I think Heaney is definitely one that's going to feast on that. Saying that, I don't know if he's premium scoring. I don't know if he's a little bit of smoke because they already have so many midfielders drafted at Sydney that you could probably just look straight past him. Yeah, not the pick for me personally, but I guess one other to consider. Sorry, I should be putting these guys at least there. So we're going to put them there so they're at least there, but not for me. And then the final one on this list, we're going to put Isaac Rankin. Was really good, but against the Weagles, I mean, honestly, you can't take anything from this game. They absolutely stomped him. Yes, he played very low game time and had a crazy good game in low game time. But I don't think we can take anything from this game. Look, I'm not going to be starting any forward premium. I've just got to be honest here. They were so bad, and with the plethora of just honestly viable rookie options, I'd much rather just pick up rookie options and then upgrade to them later on. But yeah, I think they are, at least these first 3 all have open rounds, so they could be a big watch to see if you want to jump on them. Rankin, you sort of got to make a decision off a game that really meant nothing, and you shouldn't take anything from it. So that's very hard with Rankin. I see 5% of the comp on him, and got to have big balls to make that jump. Not for me to make that risky play, though. So yeah, that'll be all the, I think, premiums that are relevant. We will clear the team again, jump back to forwards, and we'll just scroll down to, I guess, 450 or less. Adams has injured himself. Cross him off your list. I don't think Baker's a good one. Bailey, everyone's touting for a big season, 3% ownership. Once again, I just don't want to be paying up for these guys. Like, if I'm picking a mid-pricer, they got to be a cheap mid-pricer that I'm pretty confident can make 150k in a worst-case scenario. Pat Lip was pretty good. I don't know if he's 150k worth in a worst-case scenario. Maybe he's 100k. He could be worth 100k, but he's also pretty injury-prone, and I don't know if I want to be picking an injury-prone player who I don't think's a keeper at the end of the day in this forward line. Yeah, nobody else really screaming to me here. Fisher. Oh, man. Why did Fisher have to do this? Why do he have to be so damn good? Obviously, he gets, 36, 37 touches, 140, 135 Supercoach or whatever it was. Super good. I think he was good by foot as well, which, look, he's got that premium North Melbourne role. You can't look past it. 36 in total his touches were. 6 clangers, but 80% accuracy by foot, so pretty good. 8 contested, which is pretty nice. A lot of meters gained. Oh, man. God damn, why is this North Melbourne role so good? I guess the only worry here is it's his injury. He's already had 2 hammies in the preseason, hammy awareness that is, but it is a role that's a bit easier on the body. Saying that, he's doing a lot of running where it doesn't look like it's any easier on the body. I guess it's just not as physical, not as much physical contact. I mean, at his price, he really just needs to be going like 80 plus and he's valuable. Oh god, it's so hard to not start him. Like, he was so good. So I think this is one of the big contentions in the forward line. Zach Fisher has to be considered. He has to be in big consideration for everyone, and it comes down to risk tolerant. How risk tolerant are you of his injury history? The next one on this list, and people are going to laugh at this because he's 0% owned, it is Xavier O'Halloran. And once again, someone who also has high injury risk because he's had a lot in the past and even ended last year on big injury. I don't know. I think he's sneaking under the radar here. I thought he was sensational. Like, I get it. GWS ran over like Gold Coast, so it's hard to get a read there. He had 18% CBAs. I did think they were a bit higher, but he was playing that half forward role. He's kind of playing that Flanders-esque role where he's playing half forward. He's pushing in the stoppages. When he did play in the centre bounce, he was noticeable. He got contested possession, exploded from the pack, and just made an inside entry to their forward 50. It was beautiful. I thought he was really, really good. He only got 26 touches. A lot of those are kicks, which is really nice. He only had 61% efficiency, and a lot of that's because he's breaking out of the pack and he's slamming on his boot. But out of his 26 touches, 13 of them were contested. He was an absolute bull in there for them, and I thought looked really good. And I'm thinking, man, this guy could be a forward keeper. I'm really interested in him. I'm really keen for him. Yeah, I think one to consider there and maybe flying under the radar. I heard Big J say it from the centre bounce where he's like, oh, Xavier O'Halloran got 103, didn't really see it, and didn't think he did much, but whatever. Personally, to me, he was a huge standout in this game. He was very noticeable and he was very good. So yeah, I really liked what he did for GWS, and someone that I think should be considered. I'm personally considering him, and I may be the only player in the entire competition considering him, but I am definitely considering him. Unfortunately, Zach Fisher came out with this unbelievable game, and now you sit there and you're like, why not pay 40k for someone with potentially a much better role and doesn't have a bye? Why not? Why wouldn't you? That makes a lot of sense to me. So unfortunately, I think as much as O'Halloran's currently sitting in my team, that Fisher game might mean I need to find 40k to get to Fisher. But look, if you're, once again, this is a team where you have 29 players you're 100% happy with, you have one forward position left, and you got 340k sitting there, and you can't get up to Zach Fisher because you think the other 29 players are perfect. Xavier O'Halloran, I'm telling you, he could be the smoky for a forward keeper at his price. At minimum, I think he's 100k on his price. Then I think he's more realistically 150k and potentially has maybe keeper. Like it's unlikely, but he potentially has keeper written on him. So yeah, I loved what I saw from Xavier O'Halloran. I'd love to see, Cogs and Kelly, they haven't been the most durable either. One of them going down and him getting a bit more of an elevated CBA bump, would love that. But yeah, definitely one to keep your eyes on. Okay, scrolling on down here. Anyone else? I mean, people talked about Tom Powell, but he wasn't very impressive, so I think you just scratch him from the list. Now, I think we already know who I'm going to put here. No, we're going to put him here just because he's highly owned. 51%, Nat 5. Nope, do not pick him. He is a fluff. At the end of the day, yeah, he looked pretty good in that midfield. He played a lot of midfield. He played a lot of body contact, but he only got like a 70 Supercoach. For his price, you only really need a 70 for him to be viable. But with such high risk on the body, I think he is significantly higher risk than Fisher and O'Halloran, as well as lower, like less scoring, I think, will come from him. I like the scoring of Fisher O'Halloran more than I like from Fife. Look, I think Fife was good, and he did make me waver a little bit to be like, maybe he's actually a pick. But as I mentioned, I think best case scenario you're getting from Fife is maybe an 85 average, which is good for his price. But in reality, you could probably choose a lot of rookies that could do just as well, like for their price, without the risk of this injury. So yeah, I'm personally against Fife. I don't want to see him in your team, but I know a lot of people are going there. And then James Jordan, who I think is almost a must-have in every team. God damn it, he looked good. And then god damn it, Taylor Adam goes down injured. He's going to get even more CBA time. Like, he is just a must-have. We've already seen him at Melbourne. When he has big amounts of CBAs, he's 80-plus player. And he's priced at 50. So if he's 80-plus with big CBAs, and it looks like he's going to have big enough CBA, like I think it's only 40 CBAs % more, he's basically 80-plus player. So I think lock him in to your forward line. He looks really good for a mid-pricer. And he will be, I guess Harms also people looking at, but Harms I think a bit underwhelming. Didn't really have the role, was sort of stuck forward all game. So yeah, not really for me to go for James Harms, but I think they're really the four you're considering. Harms not really my pick. I think we're mainly looking at these three. I think James Jordan is in every team, and then maybe you're looking at one of these other two, O'Halloran and Fisher. I think most people are really just looking at Fisher. I think it's just me looking at O'Halloran, but hey, I personally loved what he did. I loved what he did, and you can't hate me for that. And yeah, and that basically wraps it up for this video. We've already gone through the rookies, we're going through the mid-prices, and we've gone through the Rucks. So nice, quick video. I say nice and quick, it definitely wasn't quick. What are we at? 30. So 30 minutes, just like every other video I've done. I'll schedule this one for probably midnight on Tuesday. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you all for sticking around until the end. I'm saying, good thing with James Jordan and O'Halloran, we get an open round game to look at them. Watch this space on O'Halloran. No joke, watch this space. I think he could be a smoky. And if he's not, then you know what? We can see the open game and abort mission real quick. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking. And for all of those that have subscribed for their consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into their YouTube feed. Peace later.